warm welcome to this special edition of Rajya Sabha Television Question Hour from the Parliament House complex, where we bring you important unstarred questions asked by the members of the Rajya Sabha and the answers given by the government. I'm Kriti Mishra, and joining me is my colleague Vishal Dhaya.
Well, thank you, Kriti. And in the next half an hour, for the first 15 minutes, me and Kriti will take you through some important questions and their answers. And then after the break, our colleagues Arvind Singh and Preeti Singh will take you through some more questions in Prashn Kal. So let's begin the question hour, Kriti. And the first one is to the Ministry of Defence.
That's right. The first question is to the Ministry of Defence, and this one has been asked by member Rakesh Sinha. And he has inquired about the number of vacant posts in the Indian Army and when these posts are proposed to be filled.
Well, as per the Ministry of Defence, the number of vacant posts in the Army as of 1st of January 2019 is 45,634, including 7,399 posts which are above the rank of second lieutenant. Recruitment in the Army is a continuous process, and vacancies occur due to various reasons like accretions of posts from time to time, tough selection procedure, difficult service conditions, coupled with perceived high degree of risk involved in the service career, as also inherent limitation of number that could be trained without compromising the quality of training. Now, the vacancies are filled progressively through recruits who complete the training. In fact, a short while ago, my colleague spoke to the member Rakesh Sinha about his response to the government's answer to the question raised by him in the House. Let's listen in.
Joining me is member of Rajya Sabha, Mr. Rakesh Sinha, on the Question Hour show. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, Mr. Sinha. You've asked a very important question related to the defence of this country about the vacant posts in Indian Army. The government has given a concrete reply. What is your take on government's response?
I think this question has attracted the attention of the nation as well as the House. There are larger number of vacancies in the Army. It is important because for the last many years, India is contesting and confronting the Pakistan and China. Therefore, I think that these vacancies should be fulfilled. Moreover, I wanted to add in this question that what is the advantage of NCC? Government must do a survey, a review, how many people join Army via NCC, because NCC is an all India phenomenon in every school and college. Second important thing related to this is that what is the government's efforts to bring youth in the Army? Due to consistent confrontation at the border, there might be some demoralizing factors among the parents. In that situation, the government has to do some new approach so that youth should be attracted to Army, and Army is not like that it is only confronting at the border, but it is doing service to the nation. This is the best opportunity for the youth to serve the nation, and I think there is no better opportunity than this.
And the government also talks about intent of filling these posts.
You know, these posts have been vacant for the last many years, but I am very happy that new government has shown determination that these posts should be fulfilled. And not only filled, but also new vacancies would be created. The number of armed forces would be increased. Another thing very important related to that, there are army schools in this country.
Yes.
There is a basic intent behind the army school and objective. Are we getting people from army school in the Navy, Army and the air wing of the armed forces? So these two things are related matter regarding the vacancies in the Army, and I believe that the government would take note of all these things, and soon the post would be filled, and our armed forces, as it is known in the world, the most disciplined, most dedicated, patriotic, and the more and more youth would join with the new efforts and new inspiration of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Absolutely. That's a very important point that you're making, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the Question Hour show.
Well, the next question is to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and this one has been asked by the member A. Vijay Kumar, who goes on to ask the government about the number of shell companies which have been delisted during the last 3 years, and the action taken against the parent companies who were holding these shell companies.
The government has given a very detailed reply here, and the government goes on to say that the listed companies are governed and monitored by stock exchanges and SEBI, and the listing and delisting process is carried on by stock exchanges. The government further says that the term shell companies is not defined in the Companies Act 2013. It normally refers to a company without active business operation or significant assets, which in some cases are used for illegal purpose, such as tax evasion, money laundering, obscuring ownership, Benami properties. The special task force set up to look into the issues of shell companies has recommended the use of red flag indicators as alerts for identification and strike off shell companies. The government has undertaken special drive for identification and strike off such unlisted companies under Section 248(1) of the Companies Act 2013, read with the companies removal of names and companies from the Register of Companies Rules 2016, amended Rules 2019, which had not filed their financial statements and annual returns for a continuous period of 2 immediate preceding financial years. The Companies Act does not distinguish the companies for striking off as holding and subsidiary companies. During the financial year 2017-18, 2018-19, the registrars of companies have removed the names of 2,26,166 companies and 1,12,797 companies respectively from the Register of Companies, following the due process of law. So that's a very stern action against the shell companies, Vishal.
Well, that indeed is, and there have been several steps which have been taken by the government in the recent past on this aspect.
We'll move on to the next question, and this one is by member Narayan Lal Pancharia, and he has asked whether the government has conducted any inquiry into financial strains in infrastructure leasing and financial services company.
Well, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has given a detailed answer to this question, and it says that due to continuous failure of the Infrastructure Leasing and Financial Services Limited, that is ILNFS, to service its debt and imminent possibility of contagion effect in the financial market, the central government moved an application under Section 241 and 242 of the Companies Act 2013 before the National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT's Mumbai branch, for taking management control. The NCLT Mumbai bench, in its order dated 1st of October 2018, approved the application filed in this regard by suspending the erstwhile board of directors of ILNFS and appointed government nominees as directors who have been tasked with the orderly resolution of the ILNFS and its group companies. Now, the entire process is being carried out under the supervision of the NCLT. In order to ensure period of calm during the resolution process, a moratorium was sought against the creditors, which has been granted on interim basis by the National Company Law Appellates Tribunal until further orders. Retired Justice D.K. Jain of the Supreme Court of India has been appointed by NCLT to oversee the monetization and resolution of the assets of ILNFS and its group companies. The ministry further goes on to say that besides the resolution of the company, the central government has ordered investigation to be carried out by the Serious Fraud Investigation Office, that is SFIO, into the affairs of ILNFS Limited and its subsidiary companies on 30th of September 2018. The SFIO has so far submitted its first interim report dated 30th of November 2018 and its second interim report dated 28th of May 2019, which has been filed before the NCLT. Well, the next one is also to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and this one has been asked by two members, MP Virendra Kumar and GC Chandrasekhar. Both of them want to know from the government whether it has come to the notice that thousands of companies have failed to spend funds under corporate social responsibility policy, that's the CSR policy, and if so, they want to know the details and the action taken by the government against these companies.
The government goes on to say that whenever any violation of CSR provision is reported, the compliance of CSR provisions by companies is monitored through examination of mandatory disclosures made by the companies in their board's report under provisions of Section 135, read with Section 134 of the Companies Act. In case any discrepancy is noticed, then after following due process of law, sanction for prosecution is accorded. The process of scrutiny and filing prosecution for non-compliance is a continuous process, and so far, prosecution has been sanctioned against 366 companies, out of which 60 companies have filed applications for compounding the offence. Moving on to the next question, and this one is to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and this one has been asked by members Harnath Singh Yadav and Vijay Pal Singh Tomar. And these members have asked the government whether Ayushman Bharat Yojana has covered nearly half of the population of India and the salient features and targets of this scheme.
Well, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in its answer says that the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana provides health coverage to around 10.74 crore poor and vulnerable families as per socio-economic caste census data. The ministry says that MJAY provides cashless treatment to the entitled beneficiaries at empaneled hospitals. No money is released to the beneficiary and payment is made directly to the hospital by the state health agency in case of trust mode and by the insurance company in case of insurance mode. Well, the ministry says that as on 18th of June 2019, the total number of claims made are 23,26,520. ABPMJY covers deprived families in rural areas and families of workers of identified occupational categories in urban areas as per the socio-economic caste census 2011 data. All such beneficiary families under RSBY that do not feature in the targeted groups as per the SECC data are also covered under PMJAY. At present, there is no proposal to extend the coverage of PMJAY. The next question is also to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and this one has been asked by the member PL Punya, who goes on to ask the government whether it is a fact that outbreak of Nipah virus has been confirmed in Kerala, and if so, the member wants to know the details and number of patients suffering from this particular disease. Also, he wants to know whether it is a fact that there is neither a medicine nor a vaccine for treatment of Nipah virus and the details related as well.
The answer is an affirmative, and the government has said that one case of Nipah virus has been reported from Ernakulam district of Kerala on 3rd of June 2019. The government further goes on to say that currently there is no known treatment or vaccine available for either people or animals. During the outbreak in Kerala in 2018, Indian Council of Medical Research requested the government of Queensland to release some monoclonal antibodies for treatment and post-exposure of individuals affected during the outbreak on compassionate ground. After due diligence, 50 doses of the monoclonal antibodies were shipped to India within a short time frame. However, the Government of India realized the need to have our own stockpile of antibodies as contact tracing during outbreak revealed more than 2,600 close contacts. Subsequently, an MOU was signed among Henry Jackson Foundation USA, ICMR and Serum Institute of India for transfer of cell lines to SAII for production and stockpiling of around 102.4 antibodies. Moving on to the next question, and this one has been asked by member Ashok Bajpai, and he has asked about the number of colleges opened for Ayurveda, Homeopathy, Yoga, Naturopathy and Unani during the last 3 years.
Well, the government in its answer says that a total of 155 new Ayush colleges, including 2 national institutes, have been opened in the country during the last 3 years. A total of 40 proposals for opening of new Ayush colleges have been under process with the government as of now. So, Kriti, that's all we have for our viewers in this edition of the Question Hour.
Prashnakal with our colleagues Arvind Singh and Preeti Singh on the other side. Stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television.